The stars looked different from Proxima Centauri. B. Commander John Hayes stood at the large window of the colony control center, watching the double sunset. Earth was just a tiny dot from here, impossible to see with the naked eye. He took a deep breath. This was the newest human colony, the 37th world claimed for Earth. No one back home knew how far humanity had spread. Regular people on Earth thought there were maybe 5 or 6 colonies. The truth was kept quiet. Humanity had built an empire in silence. "Commander, you should see this," said Lieutenant Samantha Miller. Her voice came through his earpiece. She was leading an exploration team on the other side of the planet. "What did you find?" asked Hayes. "Something that wasn't in any of our scans. A structure. It's not natural." Hayes felt his heart beat faster. "Human. Another country got there before us." "No, sir. It's old. Very old." 30 minutes later, Hayes stood at the entrance of what looked like a temple carved into a mountainside. The stone was smooth, with strange symbols etched into perfect lines. His team had set up lights that showed a long tunnel leading down. "We detected unusual energy readings," Miller explained. She was a tall woman with short brown hair and serious eyes. "That's why we investigated this area." "How did we miss this during orbital scanning?" Hayes asked. "The structure is lined with an unknown material that blocks our sensors," said Kyle Rogers, the team's science specialist. He held up a small device that showed wavy lines on its screen. "Whatever built this didn't want it to be found easily." Hayes nodded. "How far have you gone in?" "About 50 meters, Miller answered. "We wanted to wait for your approval before going deeper." "Let's proceed, but carefully." The tunnel sloped gently downward. The air was surprisingly fresh for an ancient structure. After walking for 10 minutes, the tunnel opened into a large chamber. Hayes stopped in amazement. The room was a perfect circle, at least 60 meters across. In the center stood a column of dark metal, reaching from floor to ceiling. Along the walls were what looked like control panels, covered in dust, but still somehow intact. "This technology," Rogers whispered, scanning everything with his device. "It's nothing like ours." Hayes approached one of the panels. "Can we figure out what this place was for?" "I think it's some kind of beacon," said Rogers. He wiped dust from a panel, revealing glowing symbols underneath. "These aren't dead. There's still power running through the systems." Miller walked around the center column. "Who built this? And where did they go?" No one had an answer. Hayes was about to order more detailed scans when Rogers made a noise of surprise. "Something's happening. The power levels are increasing." The symbols on the column began to glow brighter. A humming sound filled the room, growing louder each second. "Everyone out," Hayes ordered. "Now." They rushed back toward the tunnel entrance. Behind them, the humming changed to a high-pitched whine. As they reached the tunnel, a beam of light shot up from the column, through the mountain rock, and into the sky. "What did we do?" Miller asked, breathing hard as they watched from outside. Hayes didn't answer immediately. His communicator beeped with an incoming message. "Commander, this is Colony Control. We're detecting a strong signal being broadcast from your location. It's aimed directly into deep space." Hayes looked at Miller and Rogers. The signal continued, pulsing regularly like a heartbeat. "I think," Hayes said slowly, "we just announced our presence to whoever built this place." Later that day, Hayes received reports from 3 other colonies. They had all found similar structures. All had activated within hours of each other. All were sending signals into space. That night, Hayes couldn't sleep. He stood again at the window, looking at the stars. For the first time, he wondered if humanity's quiet expansion had been a mistake. Out there, someone or something had left technology on these worlds. Technology that was now awake. And perhaps its owners were listening. 6 months passed since the ancient beacons activated. Captain Gregory Nelson checked the systems of his ship, the UES Pathfinder, one more time. Earth Central Command had sent him to investigate strange energy readings at the edge of human space. His small vessel was perfect for stealth missions, fast, quiet, and equipped with the best scanning technology humans had developed. "Approaching the coordinates now, Captain," said Lieutenant Eric Boyd from the pilot's seat. His fingers moved quickly over the controls. Nelson nodded. "Bring us in slowly. Full stealth mode." The view screen showed empty space, but their sensors told a different story. Something large was out there, hiding behind a field that bent light around it. "I'm picking up massive energy readings," said Dr. Amanda Wright, the ship's science officer. She was newer to deep space missions, but her brilliance had earned her this position. "Whatever's out there, it's big. And there's more than one." Nelson stood up from his chair. "Can we get a visual?" "Working on it." Wright adjusted the sensors. "I'm filtering out the distortion field." The view screen flickered, then showed a sight that made everyone on the bridge fall silent. An enormous ship, at least 20 times the size of the largest human vessel, floated in space. Behind it were more ships, dozens of them. "Are they?" Boyd couldn't finish his sentence. "Yes," Nelson said quietly. "They're alien." The ships were unlike anything humans had built. They looked almost organic, with smooth curves and sections that seemed to shift and move like liquid. Points of light pulsed along their hulls. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy patterns," Wright reported. "I think they're scanning this sector." "Are they looking for us?" Nelson asked. Wright studied her screens. "I don't think so. The scan patterns suggest they're searching for something specific." Nelson made a decision. "Let's try to communicate. Send standard greeting packages on all frequencies." The communications officer, Olivia Grant, sent the messages. Minutes passed with no response. "Captain," Wright suddenly said, her voice tense, "they've changed their scan pattern. It's now focused directly on us." Nelson felt cold. "How?" "Our stealth systems should be. They're using some kind of quantum-level detection. It's like nothing I've ever seen." The main alien ship turned toward them. 3 smaller vessels detached from the fleet. "They're coming this way," Boyd reported. "Fast, very fast." "Prepare to retreat," Nelson ordered. "But continue broadcasting peaceful intentions." The alien vessels accelerated at impossible speeds. Within seconds, they surrounded the Pathfinder. "Still no response to our messages," Grant said. Wright looked up from her station. "Captain, they're not just scanning us now. They're probing our ship. I can detect energy pulses moving through our hull, through our computer systems. They're gathering intelligence," Nelson realized. "Boyd, get us out of here." "The engines won't respond," Boyd said, his voice rising. "Something's interfering with our systems." Through the view screen, they could now see the alien vessels clearly. They were beautiful and terrifying. Crystalline structures that seemed to phase between solid matter and pure energy. Wright's scanner beeped. "I'm getting visual on the beings inside." The screen showed tall, slender figures moving inside the alien craft. Their bodies glowed with inner light, shifting between solid form and transparent energy. Suddenly, the Pathfinder's engines came back online. "They've released us," Boyd said in surprise. "Go. Maximum speed," Nelson ordered. As they pulled away, one of the alien vessels followed briefly, then turned back. The Pathfinder jumped to faster-than-light travel, escaping. Hours later, in the safety of deep space, Nelson recorded his report for Earth Central Command. The images they had captured showed a fleet large enough to overwhelm human defenses. But the aliens hadn't attacked when they had the chance. "We don't know their intentions," Nelson said into the recorder. "But one thing is clear. They didn't just discover us now. The way they found us, scanned us, they'd been watching humanity for some time." He sent the message, knowing it would change everything. Humanity's hidden empire was hidden no longer. The room fell silent as Admiral William Carter displayed the star map. Tiny blue dots showed human colonies spread across space. There were far more dots than anyone had expected. 37 established colonies, 19 star systems, mining operations in 43 others, Carter said. His voice echoed in the large meeting room at Mars Base Alpha. This is the true reach of humanity. Representatives from every colony sat around the table. Most had never met face to face before. Some looked shocked at the size of humanity's hidden empire. For security reasons, each colony only knew about a few others. Carter continued. That ends today. The arrival of these aliens, these foreigners, changes everything. On a large screen, images from the Pathfinder's encounter played. The strange, crystal-like beings seemed to glow from within. Why have we kept our expansion so secret, even from our own people? Asked Councilwoman Helen Park from the Europa colony. Carter nodded to a man sitting quietly in the corner. Dr. Alan Foster, please explain. Dr. Foster stood up. He was the head of Earth's science division, though few knew how important his work had been. 50 years ago, we found something on Mars, Foster said. Technology that wasn't human. Machines left by someone who came before us. Murmurs filled the room. Foster continued. We studied it in secret. We learned from it. Much of our faster-than-light travel technology came from what we found. Later, we discovered similar artifacts on other worlds. You're saying we've been using alien technology all along? Asked Governor Richard Klein from New Terra Colony. Reverse engineering it. Yes, Foster admitted. It's why we've expanded so quickly. What would have taken us centuries took only decades. Carter took over again. We kept quiet about our findings and our growth. We didn't know who left these technologies behind. We didn't want to attract attention until we were stronger. But we activated something, said Commander Hayes, who had joined by video link from Proxima Centauri. Those beacons we found sent signals. And now these foreigners have arrived, Carter confirmed. Perhaps they left those technologies. Perhaps they're here to reclaim them. At the far end of the table, Dr. Elizabeth Porter raised her hand. She was Earth's best expert in languages and communication. Admiral, I've been studying the transmissions we're receiving, she said. They started coming in shortly after the Pathfinder's encounter. What have you learned? Carter asked. They're not random. There's a pattern. Porter tapped on her tablet, and a series of symbols appeared on the main screen. It took time, but I started to decode them. Everyone leaned forward. Porter continued. They're not threats. They're warnings. She looked around the room. The foreigners aren't angry that we took their technology. They're worried we've awakened something dangerous. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the base. A young officer rushed into the room. Admiral, we're receiving emergency signals from 4 colonies simultaneously, he reported. New Terra, Avalon, Horizon, and Phoenix. What's happening? Carter demanded. They're under attack, sir. The foreigners asked Hayes from the video screen. No, sir. The officer looked confused. Reports say the attacks are coming from beneath the surface of each planet. Some kind of machines are emerging from the ancient ruins. They're attacking everything. Humans, buildings, even the environment itself. Carter turned to Foster. Is this connected to the technology we found? Foster looked pale. It's possible. We may have triggered defensive systems. Porter looked at her translations again. The warnings, they're not about the foreigners. They're warning about something else. Something they call the Awakened Ones. Carter stood up straight, his face grim. Send all available ships to the affected colonies. Full military response. As people rushed to follow orders, Carter looked again at the star map showing humanity's secret empire. After decades of hiding their strength, humans would now have to use everything they had built. The war had begun, but not with the enemies they expected. Smoke filled the air over New Terra. Commander Peter Jackson ducked as another explosion shook the ground nearby. His squad had been fighting for 6 hours straight. Keep those civilians moving, he shouted to his soldiers. A line of people hurried past them toward the evacuation ships. The attack had started without warning. Strange machines had emerged from the ground near the ancient ruins. They moved on 6 metal legs, with weapons that fired beams of blue energy. They destroyed buildings, vehicles, and attacked any human they saw. Jackson checked his rifle power. Almost empty. "Status report," he called to his team. "East side is clear," reported Sergeant Lisa Rand. Her armor was scorched black on one side. "But more machines are coming from the south." Jackson nodded. "We need to buy more time for the AVEC ships." "Sir," said Corporal Ben Davis, pointing to the sky. "Look!" Above them, dozens of ships appeared. Their design was unmistakable. The same crystalline structures Captain Nelson had reported. The foreigner fleet had arrived. "Are they here to help or finish us off?" Ryan asked. Jackson didn't answer. He watched as the foreigner ships engaged the machines. They fired weapons that seemed to bend light itself, cutting through the metal attackers with precision. "They're fighting the machines," Davis said in amazement. Jackson made a quick decision. "We have one chance. We need to capture one of those machines intact. We need to know what we're dealing with." His team moved through the ruins of the colony, staying low. The battle raged around them, but the foreigners were drawing most of the machine's attention. There, Jackson pointed to a small machine that had been damaged. It moved erratically, its legs not working properly. "Non-lethal weapons only. We want it functional." They surrounded the machine and hit it with EMP grenades. The machine froze, its lights flickering but still on. "Secure it," Jackson ordered. "Get it to the science bunker." Hours later, Jackson stood with Dr. Natalie Price, New Terra's lead scientist, examining the captured machine. "Remarkable technology," Price said. "It's ancient, but more advanced than anything we have." "What is it?" Jackson asked. "Some kind of automated defense system," Price said. "But the interesting part is this." She pointed to strange black growth on parts of the machine. "This isn't original. It's like the machine has been infected." "Infected? By what?" "I don't know yet, but it's changing the machine's programming." Jackson's communicator beeped. "Commander, this is control. The foreigner ships are holding position outside our atmosphere. One vessel is requesting permission to land. They're broadcasting on our frequencies now." Jackson looked at Price. "They figured out how to talk to us." "What are you going to do?" she asked. "Meet them," Jackson said. "We need answers." At the landing zone, Jackson waited with a small security team. A sleek, silver ship descended from the sky. It landed without a sound. A door appeared in its smooth surface. A single figure emerged. It was tall, nearly 7 feet in height. Its body seemed to shift between solid and energy forms, with a crystalline core that pulsed with light. Though alien, its form was humanoid, with 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. First Officer Maria Daniels stepped forward. She had been chosen for this meeting because of her diplomatic experience. "I am First Officer Daniels of the United Earth Fleet," she said clearly. The alien made a sound that seemed to come from all around them, rather than from any mouth. Then, to everyone's surprise, it spoke in perfect English. "I am designated contact specialist for this encounter," it said. "You may call me Meridian." "You know our language," Daniel said. "We have been studying your kind," Meridian replied. "We need to speak urgently. The machines you found are not what you think." "What are they?" Jackson asked from behind Daniels. "They are guardians, corrupted by an enemy that threatens us all," Meridian said. "An enemy that has no body, no form. You call it the Void." "Why are you helping us?" Daniels asked. "Because the war you have stumbled into," Meridian said, "is one we have been fighting for thousands of years. And now, because of your actions, it has begun again." Meridian stood before the Emergency Council on Mars Base Alpha. The alien's body shimmered as it spoke, the crystalline core at its center pulsing with each word. Admiral Carter and the colony representatives watched with a mixture of fear and fascination. The ruins you found were built by a species we call the precursors, Meridian explained. They existed millions of years before either of our civilizations. Images appeared on the main screen, showing ancient cities and advanced technology. The precursors spread across the galaxy, building wonders. Then they encountered what they named the Void. Meridian continued. Not a species, but an entity. A corruption that spreads like a disease through organic and mechanical systems alike. Dr. Elizabeth Porter leaned forward. The black growth we found on the captured machine. Yes, Meridian confirmed. The Void turns technology against its creators. The precursors fought, but eventually lost. Their defense systems, designed to protect their worlds, were corrupted and turned against them. And now we've accidentally activated these systems, Carter said. Correct. By disturbing the ruins, you triggered dormant beacons. Our people have monitored these sites for millennia, containing small outbreaks when they occur. But your expansion activated multiple sites simultaneously. Carter's expression hardened. Why didn't you contact us sooner? Warn us. We did not know if you were a threat, Meridian admitted. Your species expanded rapidly, using technology you did not create. We needed to assess your intentions. And what did you decide? Asked Councilwoman Park. That you are not deliberately dangerous, Meridian said. Merely young. Commander Hayes spoke up from his video link. So what do we do now? We must work together, Meridian said. Your colonies have become outbreak points. If not contained, the Void will spread across the galaxy again. Admiral Carter stood up. I propose an alliance. Human ingenuity with your experience. But we need complete honesty between us. Meridian was silent for a moment. Then, agreed. My leaders have authorized me to share our knowledge with you. And we'll share ours, Carter said, though some representatives looked uncertain. After hours of discussion, the alliance was formalized. Lieutenant Frank Rivera, a young officer with special training in alien cultures, was assigned as military liaison to the foreigner flagship. In exchange, Meridian's second-in-command, who called itself Apex, joined Earth's Strategic Command. Later that day, Rivera prepared to board the foreigner vessel. The ship seemed to shimmer against the stars, its surface constantly shifting like liquid metal. Remember your training, Admiral Carter told him. Observe everything. We need to know what we're dealing with. Rivera nodded. I understand, sir. Be diplomatic but cautious. This alliance is new and fragile. As Rivera approached the foreigner ship, a door appeared in its smooth hull. Meridian waited inside. Welcome, the alien said. Few humans have seen our vessels from within. Rivera stepped inside. The interior was nothing like human ships. There were no sharp angles, only flowing curves. Lights moved along the walls like living things. Other foreigners moved about, their crystalline bodies glowing with different colors. Your quarters have been adapted for human needs, Meridian said, leading him through corridors that seemed to form as they walked. You may find some aspects uncomfortable. I'll manage, Rivera said. I'm more interested in learning about your weapons and defenses against the Void. All in time, Meridian replied. First, you should understand what we face. They entered a large chamber with a pool of silvery liquid at its center. This is our memory archive, Meridian explained. It will show you what happened to the precursors, what will happen to both our species if we fail. Meridian touched the liquid, and images formed above it. Rivera saw worlds burning, machines turning against their makers, and a darkness that seemed to consume everything. The Void doesn't just destroy, Meridian said quietly. It learns. It adapts. Every technology it consumes makes it stronger. Rivera watched the images with growing horror. How do we fight something like that? Together, Meridian said. Or not at all. Back on Mars, Admiral Carter met with Apex. The alien stood tall and still, its core glowing a deep blue. Show me your fleet capabilities, Carter said. We need to coordinate our forces. Apex hesitated. How much of your military strength will you commit to this alliance? Carter smiled slightly. Let's be honest with each other. Both sides are holding back. But we need to start somewhere. Indeed, Apex agreed. Trust must be earned. Neither mentioned what both knew. This alliance was built on necessity, not friendship. And neither side was showing all its cards. Admiral Carter watched as the hidden human fleet emerged from its secret bases. Ships of all sizes moved into formation. Hundreds of them, far more than the foreigners had seen before. What humans lacked in advanced technology, they made up for in numbers. 3 times the size they expected, Carter said to General Rebecca Wilson, who stood beside him on the command deck. Their sensors had only detected our regular patrols. Wilson nodded. Should we have shown our full strength earlier? No. Even allies keep secrets. On screens around them, similar scenes played out across human space. Mining operations converted to weapons production. Research stations became military planning centers. The human empire, built in silence, now revealed its true purpose: to protect mankind at all costs. General Wilson, Carter said, proceed with Operation Firebreak. Wilson gave the order. At the edge of the Sol system, massive platforms began to move. They had been disguised as asteroid mining stations, but were actually weapon systems based on precursor technology the humans had adapted over decades. The platforms are powering up, reported the weapons officer. Ready in 30 minutes. Dr. Jason Kendrick rushed onto the command deck. Admiral, we need to reconsider using the Firebreak platforms. Why? Carter asked, frowning. Based on what we've learned from the foreigners, these weapons might accelerate the corruption. Kendrick looked worried. They're derived from precursor tech. The Void might be able to infect them more easily. Carter considered this. What do the foreigners say? They don't know about Firebreak yet, Wilson admitted. And they don't need to, Carter decided. The platforms will only be used as a last resort. Meanwhile, on the foreigner flagship, Lieutenant Rivera studied tactical displays with Meridian, the crystal being moved gracefully around the command center, touching screens that appeared and disappeared in the air. Our forces have established containment zones around 7 major outbreak sites, Meridian explained. But the corrupted machines are becoming more organized. How is that possible? Rivera asked. I thought they were just automated systems. The Void gives them a kind of collective intelligence, Meridian said. The more they fight, the more they learn. Rivera watched as human and foreigner ships worked together, forming a blockade around New Terra colony. The corrupted machines tried to break through but were pushed back by combined firepower. It's working, Rivera said. Our tactics complement each other. Yes, Meridian agreed. Your species is unpredictable. You try approaches we would not consider. Sometimes they fail, but sometimes they work, Rivera finished. A new alert sounded. Meridian moved quickly to check the readings. The machines have changed their attack pattern, Meridian said. They're specifically targeting joint operations now. Rivera studied the data. They're adapting to our combined tactics. This confirms our worst fears, Meridian said. The Void is not just corruption. It's learning. Back on Mars Base Alpha, Apex analyzed battle reports with Carter's staff. The foreigner stood out among the humans, towering over them, its body glowing with subtle light. Your weapons are primitive but effective, Apex noted, especially in large numbers. We've always believed in overwhelming force, said Colonel Tina Clark, Earth's chief tactician. A strategy is working for now, Apex said. But the machines are adapting quickly. Then we'll adapt faster, Clark replied. Apex tilted its crystalline head. You are very confident for a species so young. Youth has its advantages, Clark said with a small smile. We haven't learned what's impossible yet. As they talked, a junior officer rushed into the room. Colonel, we've lost contact with the science team on Outpost 7. What happened? Clark demanded. Unknown. Their last transmission mentioned unusual readings from the precursor artifacts they were studying. Apex moved forward. Show me these readings. When the data appeared on screen, Apex's body flashed with intense light, a sign of alarm. This is a new variant of corruption, the foreigner said. One we haven't seen before. What does that mean? Clark asked. It means the void is evolving faster than expected, Apex replied. It's creating new ways to spread. The news spread quickly through both human and foreigner commands. The war was entering a new phase, and no one knew what would come next. On the edge of human space, General Wilson watched as the firebreak platforms completed their power-up sequence. She hoped they wouldn't be needed. She was wrong. Commander Michelle Boyd stepped carefully through the empty streets of New Eden Colony. The buildings stood intact, but no people remained. Her team moved behind her, weapons ready. Life signs, she asked her science officer. None, Commander, he replied, checking his scanner. But no bodies either. New Eden had gone silent 3 days ago. No distress calls, no reports of attack, just silence. Boyd's team had been sent to investigate. Check the security center, Boyd ordered. Maybe the cameras caught something. They found the colony's main security hub untouched. The systems still worked. Boyd's technical specialist began searching through the footage. Found something, he said after a few minutes. From 2 days ago. The screen showed colony residents being led to large ships. Not human ships, but foreigner vessels. They evacuated them, Boyd said in surprise. Looks that way, her lieutenant agreed. But why didn't they tell Central Command? Check the timestamp, Boyd said. When did this happen? About 4 hours before a massive corrupted force arrived in the system. Boyd stared at the footage. The foreigners knew the attack was coming. They got our people out, but they never reported it. Back at Mars Base Alpha, Admiral Carter confronted Meridian with the evidence from New Eden. You've been running operations in our territory without informing us, Carter said, his voice cold. That violates our agreement. Meridian's crystalline form pulsed with changing colors. We acted to save human lives. That's not the point, Carter said. What else haven't you told us? Meridian was silent for a moment. Then, it is time for complete truth between us. The alien activated a holographic display showing dozens of small installations scattered throughout human space. These are monitoring stations we established centuries ago, Meridian explained, long before your species reached the stars. Spy posts, Carter said. Yes, we have watched humanity's development closely. Why? Meridian's core darkened slightly. Because our models predicted you would become a threat. The room grew tense. Carter's security team shifted, hands moving closer to their weapons. We didn't come here to help you, Meridian continued. We came to evaluate whether your species should be eliminated. Eliminated? Carter's voice was dangerously quiet. The precursors created the void as a weapon, Meridian explained. A weapon that evolved beyond their control. Our predictive models showed that humans would follow a similar path, creating your own destruction if allowed to continue unchecked. You were planning to wipe us out, Carter realized. It was considered, Meridian admitted, but many among us argued for observation instead of action. When the void reactivated, our priorities changed. So we're only allies because there's a bigger threat, Carter said. Yes. But alliance does not require friendship, only common purpose. As they spoke, Commander Boyd's team discovered more evidence on New Eden. Hidden beneath the colony was a foreigner installation designed to monitor all colony activities. And deep inside, they found something worse. Sir, Boyd reported to Carter via secure channel, we've found a device here. Our scientists think it's some kind of sterilization weapon. Powerful enough to wipe out all life on the planet. Carter looked at Meridian. You were prepared to destroy our colonies. Only as a last resort, Meridian said. If the corruption spread beyond control. Carter turned to his security chief. Find all these installations. Neutralize any weapons you find. That would be unwise, Meridian warned. Those defenses may be needed against the void. We'll take our chances, Carter replied. Word spread quickly through human space. Ships were dispatched to locate and destroy the hidden foreigner installations. The fragile alliance began to fracture. Lieutenant Rivera, still aboard the foreigner flagship, found himself suddenly treated with suspicion. The foreigners no longer shared information freely with him. Your people are making a mistake, Meridian told him. Division now serves only the void. Trust works both ways, Rivera replied. As both species prepared for possible conflict with each other, long-range sensors detected massive void concentrations converging from multiple directions, drawn by the energy of their weapons and the discord between them. The true enemy was coming, and it was stronger than ever. Dr. Elizabeth Porter stared at her screens, ignoring the alarms blaring throughout Mars Base Alpha. For days, she had worked without sleep, studying both foreigner messages and void corruption patterns. I found something, she said to Meridian, who had remained on the base despite the growing tension between their species. A frequency that disrupts void coordination. Meridian moved closer, crystal body pulsing with interest. Show me. Porter played a sequence of sounds and light patterns. On another screen, captured void material reacted, pulling away from the signal. It doesn't destroy the void, Porter explained, but it confuses it temporarily. This could allow targeted strikes against primary nodes, Meridian said. How did you discover this? I combined your species' historical records with our analysis of current void behavior. Porter looked up at the alien. Neither of us could have found this alone. Meridian was silent for a moment. Then, I must share this with my leaders. Meanwhile, Admiral Carter met with the colony representatives. The mood was grim. The void forces are converging, Carter said. Our best estimates give us 3 days before they reach major colony worlds. What about the foreigner threat? Asked Councilwoman Park. Their hidden weapons. We face extinction from the void, Carter replied firmly. Everything else is secondary. He turned to General Wilson. What's the status of Operation Firebreak? Platforms are at full power, Wilson reported, but Dr. Kendrick still warns they may accelerate void corruption if used incorrectly. Carter nodded. We need a new plan. The door opened, and Porter entered with Meridian. We have a way to fight back, Porter announced, but it will require both our species working together. Hours later, Captain Diana Russell stood on the bridge of the UES Defender, the largest human battleship ever built. Around her, a combined fleet of human and foreigner vessels moved into formation. All ships report ready, her first officer said. Russell nodded. Begin Operation Unity. Across human space, similar fleets gathered. The plan was complex but clear. Human ships would deliver modified foreigner technology to key points where void concentrations were highest. The technology would create a network of containment fields, isolating and neutralizing the void influence. First target approaching, the navigation officer reported. The fleet moved toward a massive cloud of darkness that seemed to eat the stars themselves. Within it, corrupted machines and ships moved with purpose. The void is adapting to our approach, the sensor officer warned. It's forming new structures to counter our weapons. Change formation, Russell ordered. Pattern Delta 3. The human ships broke from the planned movement, creating new attack angles. The foreigners followed after brief hesitation. They're following our lead, Russell noted with satisfaction. Human unpredictability has benefits, said Apex, who had joined her bridge crew. We would have maintained the original plan despite evidence of its failure. The battle raged across multiple star systems. On New Terra, Commander Jackson led ground forces to place containment generators at the planet's core. On Proxima Centauri, Commander Hayes defended the science team, deploying Porter's disruption frequency. Some missions succeeded, others failed. But across human space, the combined forces slowly gained ground. In the final push, the UES Defender took heavy damage while protecting a key foreigner vessel carrying the master control for the containment network. Hull breach on decks 5 through 8, reported the damage control officer. Power failing to main weapons. Stay in position, Russell ordered. We need to give them more time. As the Defender's shields failed, the foreigner ship completed its mission. The containment network activated, creating a web of energy that isolated and neutralized the void influence across human space. 5 years later, Commander John Hayes stood on a hill overlooking the new settlement. This colony was different from any before. Human children played alongside young foreigners in a park below. Buildings combined architectural styles from both species. I never expected this outcome, said Meridian, standing beside him. Hayes nodded. When we discovered your hidden installations, I thought we'd end up fighting a two-front war. And we believed your species would destroy itself, or us, given enough time, Meridian admitted. Maybe we both needed to face extinction to see beyond our differences, Hayes suggested. The colony, named Unity, marked the border between human and foreigner space. The former enemies now shared technology, culture, and the responsibility of maintaining the containment network. Humanity's hidden empire was hidden no more.